Feeling overwhelmed? It's time to recharge. Join myself and Coach Lauren J on July 27th at the very first Recharge Retreat. Focus on meditation and breathing, dive into business planning, and explore journaling in a peaceful setting. Don't miss this transformative experience. Grab your tickets now at rechargeretreatla.com. That's rechargeretreatla.com. Recharge your mind, body, and soul with us. We'll see you there. Aiming for progress and not perfection, being kind to yourself and acknowledging your efforts along the way, that's going to really help you overcome the fear of perfectionism that is ultimately keeping you stuck. What's good, go-getters? I'm Erica Smith, a Louisiana girl who left corporate and dove headfirst into digital entrepreneurship. I took everything I learned in my 11-year social media marketing and sales career, launched my online business, and made $20K in 2 weeks. But it wasn't long after I realized that making money is only a small part of running a successful company. And looking back, I could have used a lot of insight and direction. So I'm keeping it real on this podcast, doing all the research so you don't have to. Mindset, money, struggles, and setbacks are all safe topics here. Get ready to learn the marketing methods and sales secrets to scaling a successful digital business that serves both your purpose and your pockets. Consider this a cookout kickback with a touch of table talk networking. Your journey as an entrepreneur is definitely the ride of your life, but if you're ready to go get it, you're in the right place. Welcome to Go Getter. Hey, what's good, go-getters? Welcome back to another episode of the Geaux Getter Podcast. I'm Erica Smith, and today we're going to be diving into a topic that I know many of us struggle with, and that is staying consistent. So whether it's with our work, our personal goals, or daily habits, consistency can be a real challenge. And today I'm going to share why we struggle with consistency, and I'm going to give you a few practical tips on how to overcome these obstacles. So let's get into today's episode. So what exactly do we mean by consistency? It's about showing up and putting in the effort on a regular basis, even when it's tough. And social media has made it so hard to stay consistent because we're really overstimulated. We were not wired to have this many notifications and group messages going off and emails, and just all the things about our lives are so much busier now. But consistency is crucial for success because it builds momentum and it helps us achieve our goals over time. Now, there is a very common misconception that being consistent means being perfect, and that is simply not true. Consistency is about progress, not perfection. So let's talk about a few of the barriers that may be preventing us from being consistent, and these barriers can be both internal and external. One of the strongest internal barriers that I've been having to overcome lately is lack of motivation. Like sometimes we just don't feel motivated, and it can come from feeling overwhelmed and not seeing immediate results. And you also can have a fear of failure and that perfectionism. So like sometimes if you're too worried about everything, like you have to make it perfect in order for it to be successful, the fear of not doing something perfectly can stop you from even starting, because perfectionism is another form of procrastination. And then there's the self-doubt, there's that negative self-talk, because a lot of times we often doubt our own abilities and tell ourselves that we can't do it. And that can just stop you right in your tracks. Some of the external barriers that can be going on in your life is that maybe you can think about changing your environment, because your external environment could be distracting you from your goals. Like maybe there's too much noise. So like, for instance, we moved into our office downtown because it was time. Like our kids are getting older, we have a golden doodle who loves to play, so sometimes noise, interruptions, or even just the feeling of, hey, let me go climb into bed. I used to have that real bad at one point. Working from home is not, it's not as easy as people try to make it out to be. And if you feel me on that, like, let me know, right? Sometimes external things that can keep us from being consistent is when we don't have the support that we need. I went through a season where I really felt like people that were around me should have been supporting me more. They should have been helping me, do all these things and pouring into my business. And a lot of times when you don't have the right tools or the right support, it can make it hard to stay consistent. And that's why it's so important to shift your mindset. And then there's also the ability that you may be having some time management issues. So struggling to manage your time effectively can really keep you stuck when it comes to sticking to your plans. Overcoming the barriers that are keeping you from being consistent can be really tough because A lot of times you don't realize the things that you're doing that are keeping you stuck. I want to share with you some of the things that I'm doing right now that are helping me stay way more consistent in my business, and probably the most consistent that I've ever been. And the first thing is building the motivation. People tell you all the time, like, motivation should not be what it is that keeps you going. Like, discipline should be it. But I'm a very emotional person. I have to be motivated in order to work. And things that I've done that have helped me to stay motivated is breaking down my bigger tasks into smaller, manageable tasks. Instead of me looking at everything all at once, I've started breaking it down into little sections. Something else that's really helped me to stay structured in my business is identifying the different departments that need to be in place in order for my business to run. So currently, we run 4 different departments inside of Hey Erica Smith. Department 1 is operations. Department 2 is marketing and sales. Department 3 is production. And Department 4 is customer service. So what this helped me do is it helped me identify the areas in the business that are truly, truly high priority versus the areas that I'm spending a lot of time just kind of like playing around, because I love marketing. It's a passion of mine. But sometimes instead of me spending a lot of time planning out marketing strategies, it's better fit for me to be in the production side, working on content, building out websites and things like that. And it also helped me to identify areas that I need help in, which is something that I have talked about so many times on this podcast, not only because it's difficult to find good help, but because it's also difficult to let go of something that you know that you have built on your own. A lot of times the motivation is lacking because we're overwhelmed, and we're overwhelmed because we have too much on our plate. So if you're dealing with fear and perfectionism, which is my second tip that I have for you, you've got to start accepting that failure is a part of the process. You have to fail in order to learn and grow. And I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but the quicker that you can understand clearly without any type of bad feelings or bad energy around it, the easier it's going to be for you to fail. Accepting those mistakes, aiming for progress and not perfection, being kind to yourself and acknowledging your efforts along the way, that's going to really help you overcome the fear of perfectionism that is ultimately keeping you stuck. And lastly, if you are someone who is struggling with believing in yourself and believing that you have the confidence, or just giving yourself the confidence that you need to trust yourself more, I want you to start focusing on replacing your negative thoughts with positive ones. I want you to seek feedback from other people who can encourage you rather than discourage you. And I want you to surround yourself with more people like that. Build a network of people who are going to encourage you and support you, because a lot of times as you become more successful, you're going to start identifying people who really don't want to see you win. And when you surround yourself with people who don't want to see you win, then the idea of you winning creates a conflict within your own self-confidence, and you'll lose your way. Having that self-confidence is directly connected to your consistency, because if you don't trust yourself and if you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to show up. And if you don't show up, then the people who are connected to your business, the people who are connected to your brand, they're never going to hear from you. You know, a lot of times we think about all of the other reasons why we're not seeing the needle move in our business, we're not seeing the increase of income, and we point the finger at so many things other than what it truly is. And a lot of times it's us. Now, in order to be consistent, you have to make sure that you have a productive environment. So you want to make sure that you've decluttered your workspace, you have very minimal distractions, and you have a consistent routine, because the more consistent your routine is, the more consistent your production is, the easier it is for you to move forward, the easier it is to know when you're getting close to being burnt out, because that's a real thing. And time management within that routine is also incredibly helpful, because you can start managing how long it takes you to complete these tasks, and you can start prioritizing them based off of the level of priority, but also how long it's going to take you to complete it. You also need to make sure that you're allocating specific time slots for different activities. So like, for instance, We have now moved all of our clients to 1-day client shoots. So like our 1-day content shoot. So within that 1 day, we shoot all of the content for the entire month. It's a long day, but it has totally transformed our workflow and how we're able to produce and execute for our clients. Because instead of us spending a lot of time throughout the week or trying to make sure that we've got this done and that done, we just identify what the content's going to be for the month, what the funnel flow is going to be for the month. We execute that in 1 day. We edit that and get that out, and then they're done. So being able to identify how much time it takes for you to complete tasks and then allocating specific time slots for those different activities makes it a lot easier for you to stay consistent. You also want to identify when you are procrastinating. You want to be able to identify when you're procrastinating and then address the reasons behind your procrastination. Because if you're like me, when I procrastinate, it's because I'm avoiding the task that I don't want to do. And, I always say the obstacle is the way. The thing that you're avoiding is the thing that you should be doing. Because once you do that thing that you're avoiding, then you can continue to flow through with your workday and you can get more done, which is connected to your consistency. I remember a season in my business where consistency just did not even feel like it was possible. And I know how that feels because a lot of times, life is always happening. Life be life. And like I say, and consistency is something that has to be a part of your day-to-day habit. You have to build the habit of consistency. Now, I will say this too. I've been talking about this so much, but resting is so important because you cannot stay consistent if you aren't rested. I'm learning that. That's something that I struggled with for a while. I could not rest for nothing. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's the grinder in me, the go-getter in me, the, hustle, I don't know. As I've gotten older, I've realized that I can still be a go-getter without being burnt out. Like I can still go get it without being totally exhausted and overwhelmed. And now I can't move forward and I can't be consistent. Whoever said that you have to be burnt out and you have to do the most in order to reach your goals, like it's a lie. Don't believe it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's not true. I do understand that whenever you're starting a company from scratch, it does take a lot to get off the ground. There's a lot that has to be done. You have to figure out your content strategy. You have to figure out your offers. You have to always be in front of people. You have to be the one who's answering the phone and answering the emails and putting together all the packages and dealing with fires that have to be put out and customer service and all the things. But the reality of it is, the sooner that you can establish a consistency plan, the sooner you can establish a way that you can flow through your day-to-day without it burning you out, like the better off your business is going to be, the better off your clients are going to be, the better off your performance is going to be, because people only give you so much grace. There's only so many times that you can continue not to show up. If you do fall off the wagon and if you do lose your consistency, just pick yourself back up again. Don't even worry about explaining to the world where you were, where you went. Just pick it back up and keep going. Keep going. You only fail when you stop trying. You only fail when you stop going. Consistency is about progress. And if you're making progress, even just a little bit, I need you to celebrate that. I need you to celebrate that you are further than where you started. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some grace. Don't allow the negative self-talk in your mind to keep telling you about what you can do and what you didn't do and how it didn't work and how last time it wasn't this and you tried this so many times and it doesn't matter. Listen, all of that crap is designed to stop you. All of that junk in your head that's trying to keep you from being consistent is the number one thing that's going to determine whether or not your business is actually successful, whether your body is in the best health, whether your kids learn the discipline and the structure that they need in order to be productive citizens. Consistency is everything. Being able to stay consistent is something that we all struggle with and continue to struggle with, but that lets you know that you're in good company. You're in good company of other go-getters who are trying to push forward to continue to go get it. So I want to thank y'all so much for listening to this week's episode. Make sure that you guys leave us a comment, leave us a review, and share this with another go-getter that you know is on the journey of entrepreneurship and building a business. Somebody else that you know needs a little bit of encouragement along the way. I'm so excited that y'all are here with us. We'll see y'all next week.